Task-oriented behaviors include actions you'll take to ensure that people, equipment, and other resources are used in an efficient way to accomplish the goals of our organization. To execute tasks effectively and keep things running smoothly, you will need to plan and organize operations at your facility, clarify roles and objectives for your followers, monitor the performance of your staff, and resolve problems that arise on the job. Planning is the first of the 4 task-oriented behaviors. Planning involves developing short-term plans for the work, determining how to schedule and coordinate activities to use people and resources efficiently, and determining the action steps and resources needed to accomplish a project or activity. Planning is vitally important in the early and late stages of the season. When the pool is only open on weekends, managers should be planning ahead to make sure the pool is clean and ready to go before Friday afternoon, and that staff are aware of their shifts. If a guard who hasn't worked before, or in a while, is scheduled to work an upcoming shift, you should reach out to them and verify that they have seen their schedule. An example of daily planning is scheduling appropriate times for miners to take their breaks. Often, miners may forget or attempt to forego their break. At the beginning of each shift, you should ask who needs a break and schedule a time for them to take their break. Be smart when planning breaks. If you know that tennis camp is coming to the pool from noon to 1, you should plan the breaks to occur before or after that time. Task assignments for opening and closing duties, as well as rotation plans, will also be planned by the manager at the start of each shift. The manager team at each facility should plan together to ensure that they have adequate staffing levels for all shifts. If you suspect or know that a guard is not planning to work their shift, you should first tell the guard that they must find a sub or work the shift. And second, if it becomes clear that they will not find a sub or work the shift, you should find coverage for that shift yourself. Adequate staffing also includes having proper supervision on every shift. This means that if you are planning to trade away a shift, you must get approval from your regional manager first. You will only receive approval if you find a sub who is either another manager or a senior lifeguard. Clarifying is the next task-oriented behavior. Clarifying involves clearly explaining task assignments and follower responsibilities, setting specific goals and deadlines for important aspects of work, explaining priorities for different objectives, and explaining rules, policies, and standard procedures. Early on in the season, your followers will require much clarification. You must be able to answer all of their questions accurately. That requires you know the staff manual and all policies therein well, and that you are able to clearly explain them to others. Explaining things in a clear manner is a skill that you will develop. You can practice a skill by trying to explain a policy or procedure to a family member. Tasks that require coaching include opening and closing duties, check-in procedures, rotation procedures, regular deck cleaning sweeps, and any other task that is specific to your facility. In addition to these tasks, some pool rules and facility policies are site-specific. Anytime a lifeguard works at your facility for the first time, you will be responsible for coaching them through these tasks and educating them on the site-specific rules and policies. The most effective way to clarify for your followers is for you to model appropriate behavior. You are the standard bearer for your facility. By acting as an exemplary lifeguard, you will implicitly teach your staff how they should execute their work assignments. Sometimes, staff will not ask for clarification for fear of embarrassment. When you see uncertainty in a staff member's action, ask if they would like clarification. The next task-oriented behavior is monitoring. Monitoring involves checking on the progress and quality of the work, examining relevant sources of information to determine how well important tasks are being performed, and evaluating the performance of followers in a systematic way. Without proper monitoring and feedback, your followers will not know if they are failing to meet our standards of performance. You will monitor your followers' performance and provide informal feedback on a daily basis. Most importantly, you will be responsible for monitoring your followers' performance on the lifeguard stand. Every time you are at the desk, you should watch your guards and evaluate how they are sitting on the stand, scanning their zone, and enforcing the rules. Watch them for 1 to 2 minutes and calculate the average length of time it takes them to scan their entire zone. Remember, the maximum average allowed is 10 seconds. If they are not meeting the standard for posture, scanning, or rule enforcement, provide them with immediate feedback. Simply walk up to them while they are on the stand and ask them to correct their deficiency. It is important that you do not distract them from their surveillance duties to deliver this feedback. Ask them to continue scanning their zone. You should also scan their zone as you deliver the feedback. Make sure the feedback is short and to the point. Other daily informal monitoring and feedback is required for secondary duties. You are responsible for keeping the deck clean and preventing trash cans from becoming full. If you notice that staff is not being thorough enough with their deck sweeps, let them know. Every staff member, including you, should be contributing equally to secondary duties. You will also be responsible for monitoring and reporting follower infractions regarding uniform and attendance. If an employee is late or out of uniform, use the messaging feature in our Phoenix app to report the infraction. Let your followers know that if you do not report their infractions, you will also be subject to the penalties incurred by their mistakes. Site managers, with the assistance of head guards, will deliver formal feedback to each lifeguard once a month. We will review this feedback process before completing the first round of formal evaluations. Site managers who are also lifeguard instructors will audit their facility multiple times each week. If you are an auditing manager, you will receive further instructions on auditing in a later course. The final task-oriented behavior is problem solving. Problem solving involves identifying work-related problems that can disrupt operations, making a systematic but rapid diagnosis, and taking action to resolve the problems in a decisive and confident way. Effective problem solving is proactive rather than reactive. Looking ahead to prevent likely problems before they occur will save you a lot of time, effort, and stress. We discussed earlier how you can plan effectively to ensure smooth operations and avoid most major issues. However, there will be times when you are faced with an unexpected dilemma. An example of such a problem is whenever a lifeguard fails to report for a shift. When this occurs, your first response should be to call that guard and see where they are. If you are unable to get in touch with them, or if they are not going to make their shift, you should next call around and find a sub to come work their shift. In some cases, you may be the one filling in for the missing guard. Ultimately, it is your responsibility to ensure that your pool is always adequately staffed. Other problems may include staff interpersonal drama, upset patrons, or unexpected facility problems that may require a pool closure. When dealing with most unexpected problems, there will not be a scripted response plan for you to follow. You must use your best judgment to handle problems. Your regional manager will support you with your decision-making if you request assistance. In general, you can follow these steps to aid in problem solving. First, stop and think. Try to calm yourself and don't allow external pressures to rush your thinking. Then, identify the root cause of the problem. Perhaps the problem you're witnessing is the result of some other underlying problem. Gather as much information as you can and avoid the temptation to act immediately. Next, develop one or more courses of action that you may take to resolve the issue. Consider the consequences of selecting each course of action. Once you have identified what you believe is the best course of action, act on it quickly and confidently. Each problem you experience is an opportunity for learning. Once you've dealt with a problem and experienced the consequences of your decision-making, reflect back on the appropriateness of the course of action you pursued. Whether you succeeded or failed in your problem-solving efforts, by taking the time to reflect on your actions, you will gain valuable experience to apply the next time you face a similar problem. To recap, task-oriented behaviors, planning, clarifying, monitoring, and problem-solving are used to provide structure for your followers, as well as increase work performance and efficiency. By utilizing these behaviors, you will enable your followers to better understand and adhere to SELA's standard of excellence.